is down 9 points. This is CBS News.
Remember when a small business needed a landline? Today, the world is your office with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. On the road, at the beach, or at home, Grasshopper helps you grow your business with all the features of a business phone system and the freedom of a cell phone. Features include multiple extensions for your team, calls forwarded to your mobile phones, voicemails transcribed and emailed, and so much more. See how it works at grasshopper.com, the entrepreneur's phone system.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
There's new security for Major League Baseball this coming season. From Washington, WTOP Radio's Andrew Mullenbeck checks it out.
Metal detectors are in and ready for opening day at ballparks across the country.
These magnetometers obviously will be effective in screening those people who have objects on them.
Frank Gambino is VP of Ballpark Operations for the Nationals. He says it will delay how quickly fans can get to their seats.
Until you get used to the process, please come early, take your time.
Only Wrigley Field in Chicago will delay the program because of renovations. Andrew Mullenbeck for CBS News, Washington.
Russian space officials say they plan resuming space tourism in 2018. 7 paying guests were sent to the space station on flights that began in 2001. The program was grounded in 2009, with one exception. British singer Sarah Brightman's due to blast off on a flight this summer. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
NASCAR, Laura Ingram, Dennis Miller, David Toulis, Coast to Coast AM, and CBS Radio News. Chattanooga's news, talk, and sports leader.
Hot News Talk Radio, 910, 1190, and 1240 AM.
I just moved to my new house today. Moving was hard, but I got swept away.
You are about to embark on a journey through real estate and real estate investing. This is Real Estate U.
Yes, you are listening to Real Estate U on Hot News Talk Radio, the powerhouse in the tri-state area, coming at you from AM 910, 1190, and of course here in beautiful scenic Chattanooga, 1240 AM, a force to be reckoned with in Chattanooga. That is Hot News Talk Radio. I am Eric Judd, one of your hosts of Real Estate U, and as always, I'm with my partner, John Santero.
Hey, Eric, man, you're fired up today.
Yeah, I tell you what, we were very, very blessed this morning. You know, we talk about Russell all the time, and he is really the superstar, but the backbone of the radio station here on the air was David Tullis, and we actually got to break bread with him this morning and spend some time with him, and we appreciate that.
You know, we had to shut down Panera for a while so that all the paparazzi doesn't show up, but
and that was for us. And then David came in.
David showed up.
Hey, look, we've got some exciting news here. We are now on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, see a live broadcast. And, of course, all the past shows will be there also. It's very simple. Go to YouTube and search Hot News Talk Radio. That's YouTube, Hot News Talk Radio. And if you live in beautiful South Pittsburgh, you can catch us on TV Channel 2. That's right, TV Channel 2. You can see the radio station all day long, and you'll get to see all the superstars here on Hot News Talk Radio. And as always, you can find us at hotnewstalk.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Hot News Talk Radio. And if you're out and about in your mobile, then grab your smartphone, whether it be an Apple product or it's an Android. You can go to the TuneIn app in your in the App Store, pull it up, and then just hit local, scan down, and you'll see Hot News Talk Radio 1240 right there. So there's no excuse for anybody not to be able to find us.
Well, that's a lot of stuff there. How about if you just have like a little transistor radio that I still have my little AM.
1240 AM. There you go.
I can ride in there.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're going to have a great show today because we're going to talk about getting into houses as well as being able to do some credit repair.
Right.
And we got Heather Olstein here, and she's going to be coming in as our guest to explain her programs and her company's programs and their philosophy about going into home ownership. So I'm going to say that today's show, rent, is going to be a 4-letter word.
And it is.
Oh,
that is a true statement.
It
yes. Rent is the 4-letter word. And we appreciate Heather coming in. She'll be here in about 5 minutes. She's with Consumer Credit Counseling and has put together a great program. They really change people's lives. As John said, they take them from renters into really home ownership. And that is still the American dream here in the United States. John, we've got something coming up with the Chattanooga RIA tonight.
Tonight, it's going to be held at the Flying Squirrel. And that's off of Main Street, South Side. If anybody hasn't been over there, it's going to be a great night.
It is. It's going to be a great night.
We're going to have just going to have like a little meet and greet and talk and chat and have some fun. It's very, very informal. So if you're out there, want to have a drink and talk a little bit of real estate and have some giggles and fun, come on out to the Flying Squirrel tonight. It's going to be held at, I think we're going to start about 5:30. We'll go until last man standing, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, those mixers are a lot of fun. They're free. You come, you just talk, get to network, meet with people. If you'd like more information on it, you can go to the ChattanoogaRIA.com. That's ChattanoogaREIA.com. All right, John, let's get into this. We've got, we're going to talk about rent to own and kind of define that and let everybody know how it is really a great program to home ownership.
Well, there's a lot of different aspects of rent to own. You hear rent to own, lease to own, contract for deed. That's just a couple of the more popular versions of basically the same thing. And rent to own, when you think of rent to own, Eric, it's like you go and you rent your TV,
right? Like you're buying a refrigerator or something. Yeah, you rent it for 3 years, you pay $11,000 for it, and then you own it.
That's it. So that they have that concept in real estate. I like to use more of a lease to own concept, or even better, a contract for deed, because what that's going to do is spell out the sales, the eventual sale of that property.
Yeah, and what it is a different pathway to home ownership.
Yeah, and what basically what that means is that you're gonna find a house, you're gonna have a contract. Let's just say right now we're gonna call it a contract for the deed. Okay, so you're gonna have a couple of different things in that contract. One, the length of that contract. How long is it going to take? Because I can't buy that house now, but I'm going to buy that sometime in the future. So that can be whatever that time is that you discuss.
It could be 6 months, 12, even 18 to 24.
Whatever that time frame is, then you're going to identify how much that house is on that future date. Okay, so
you're locking in the price today, what you would pay for it in the future.
Exactly. You're going to do that, and you're also going to come up with the terms of what that's going to be. So that can be a certain amount of dollars up front for that contract that you're going to buy that house in the future. Okay. Or it can be that I'm going to put this amount of money aside for doing that. Now, a couple of contract points in there is going to be what kind of money is going to come back to you if you don't pull that trigger and buy the house. Is it all non-negotiable or not, or is it all in that seller's pocket or not? The other side of it is that are you going to is that going to be part of the down payment of the house, that when you are ready to sell, that amount of money is going to go toward that down payment, right? So there's a couple of things that are negotiable in that contract. Now you're going to say, well, I'm also living in there, right? So you have to have another contract that's just a standard rent contract.
So it's really two separate contracts, and they kind of stand alone, but at the same time they're tied together.
Well, yeah, they stand alone in the fact that one is the contract for the deed, the other one would be the rental contract that allows you and your family to live in the property, and they do usually coincide together. by using the same time frame. So, for example, if your contract for deed is for 18 months, normally that lease would coincide 18 months for that thing. So that's how they work together, and how that helps both the buyer and seller is kind of neat, because as far as the seller's point of view, I have somebody in there now that wants my house. They're in kind of like a trial period on that,
and you're earning income,
and
that's very important.
As a regular rent, and you know that at a certain period of time you're going to be able to sell the house to this person. On the flip side, on the buyer side, it's kind of neat also, because now they know that they can do within the guidelines of the contract, they can fix up that house, maybe do some things they want to do to make it their home, know that they can't pull the trigger now, but they will be able to in the time frame that they negotiated, and purchase the house, and possibly during that time have some sort of forced savings account to put toward the down payment.
So it allows them, whether they have credit issues, savings issues, whatever issues they have, it allows them to correct those so that they would be able to get a mortgage and have home ownership.
Yeah,
because the bottom line is home ownership.
Well, you see now, Eric, that's a real interesting concept. Is that the bottom line? Because it used to be, when I was in California, we used to do rent-to-own contracts, but realistically speaking, the bottom line wasn't to get that person to buy the house.
Yes.
It was almost like a glorified renter program. And I think
but this is a true path to home ownership.
This would be a true path for home ownership. And that's why I'm excited about doing that, so that what happens is that you're not just taking that file, filling out all these the paperwork and putting it in a file cabinet, and then a year goes by.
You pull it out and say, "Hey, you're supposed to buy this house.
You're supposed to buy my house today," and they're saying, "Well, I didn't really do anything." And next thing you know, you could have lost your deposit money,
right?
Or they're going to be
maybe they didn't do anything to fix their credit. Maybe they didn't save any money.
9 times out of 10, without a plan, you're not going to be able to find the goal, right? And you need a plan to go do that. And that's what I really like about Heather's program and what they do, because they would provide that plan for that potential homeowner to go through and actually pull the trigger and buy their home.
Right. And that's the bottom line, is you want to take them to a path of home ownership, not to they live there a year, kick them out, put someone else in. I mean, it is true home ownership, which, a lot of people think they cannot buy, especially after, 2008 and everything that happened there. But I know you're seeing people that either have one or two things to fix, have nothing to fix, or maybe it is going to take them a year to get everything right. But like you said, if you put them on a plan, and not only put them on a plan, but you have somebody, like Heather, that can kind of push them along in their plan, to inspire them, let's say, to get these things done, then they get a mortgage.
I look at it like being a coach. The coach isn't going to be out on the field and playing ball. Right. The coach is going to be the one that's in the dugout telling you what to do so that you can play ball better.
Yeah, right? Giving you the pointers, helping you out.
Giving you the pointers to do. And that's why we kind of partnership up with Heather, because they basically are a bunch of coaches there. They can't fix your credit. They're not going to have this magic wand that's going to say, "Oh, now all of a sudden you're at 640 score." Right. But they're going to show you how to get to that spot.
Not only that, they help you to also continue that way. They don't just get you so you can purchase and it's over. They help you develop habits and good actions to keep you along that path so that this doesn't happen again.
Well, that's a good point, because what happens is we're a creature of habits. And if you don't change the habits, chances are the same thing's going to happen again. So if you've gotten yourself in trouble now from things that you've done in the past, wouldn't it be a good idea to change that a little bit so that you don't make those same mistakes?
Absolutely correct there. And the benefit really to the seller is that you're getting your home sold. Now, it may not be within 30 days, but you are getting your home sold. And most of the time you are going to get close to the price that you were asking for it, which is another benefit.
Well, and that's a good point, because a lot of times what I described earlier, when I was back in California, I didn't really care about the price point. I tried to get as high a price point as I could to selling that house, and because it wasn't really going to be questioned, number one, and number two, I didn't have a third party to look at that to see. Well, you have to have an appraisal for it to sell. Now
you have to.
And I like what you said before. If everybody's on the same page, then that means I have to price that house right, so that in that time frame, I'm going to be able to get that appraised so that it's going to match what our sales price is.
Right.
All right. So you know that you have another check and balance there.
Yes. And what, I mean, the nice part about it, it is a true win-win situation. If you're the one purchasing the house and you have to go through the lease purchase process, you're going to win by home ownership. Right. If you're the one selling the house, you're going to get close to your asking price. As you said, it still has to appraise. Right. But in the meantime, you're going to have income coming in from that property. It's not just sitting, on the open market vacant that could take 6 or 8 months to sell.
Well, that's the really nice part of it. If you're on the seller side, okay, how much time is it going to take to sell your house? Do you have to have now? You can do this with realtors also,
right? Oh yeah, okay? Absolutely, you can.
Mm-hmm. So you can sit there and have it as a regular transaction. Go through title, go through mortgage. I mean, we have the mortgage person also on our team to go forward on that. So getting from that point A to point B is really something that is important, and I think that's where Heather really needs it. Her company really makes that happen.
I agree, and we're about to bring on Heather and let her explain, first of all, who she is and what she does, and then the second half of our interview, John's going to go through with her because he's actually working with her on some properties. Heather, we'd like to welcome you to Real Estate U.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric and John. I really appreciate it.
Kind of tell us who you are and where you're from and all that good stuff. Give us a little background.
Well, I'm Heather Osteen. I am the Marketing and Education Outreach Coordinator for Consumer Credit Counseling Service. We are a division of the Partnership for Families, Children, and Adults, which means that we are a nonprofit. And so we offer financial literacy education to everyone. That's our goal, to reach everyone, no matter where you are. We hope to be able to offer you the tools to get you where you want to be.
I like the way you put that, financial education. That's something that's lost today. I mean, I don't know where else, maybe an organization like yours, where you're going to go to find financial education, because a lot of people are illiterate about that.
There are a couple of other nonprofits that do offer some financial education literacy, but everybody has their different niches. We really mostly reach out to an adult population. And as part of that, we do offer tools for credit repair. So it's not just a here's how to fix your credit and move on with your life. Just like you guys were talking about a little bit earlier, it's more of a holistic perspective. So our counselors sit down with someone who comes into our office and talks to everybody about, let's look at your budget. Let's start with your expenses. Let's look at your income. Let's see where that is. Now let's pull that credit report in. Let's dig that up and see what we've got on there. What do we need to work on? What do we need to make better? And by looking at it from this holistic perspective, yes, that takes a lot more time, and it takes a tremendous amount of hand-holding. We really pride ourselves on being excellent at holding hands and walking people through that.
And that has to be important, because that's kind of scary for a lot of people to come in and open up their lives and say, here are the mistakes I've made. My credit's bad. I've done this bad. And, you really have to, you almost kind of have to ease them into that. Maybe not you're holding their hand. You may have their little finger and pull them in. And then by the end, you're holding their hand. And they're probably hugging you saying, thank you,
Yes, it's a journey with everybody. And, even as part of my job, I teach financial literacy classes to any number of audiences. And it is imperative that we hold no judgment. It is not our job.
So you don't slap them on the wrist and say, you shouldn't have bought that motorcycle 2 years ago.
No. At this point, it's just, okay, here's where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we want to be? And how do we get there? both of you were talking about creating a plan. And that's absolutely what we're going to do, is sit down and talk to you about the plan. How do we get there? What are the steps? Where are the check-in points? Just like any good business project, that's how we're going to approach it.
And I like the fact that you said you're not just going to get their credit repaired enough to buy the house. You're going to give them the before, during, and after.
Exactly. We want to do, what did you do? Where are we? Where do we need to be? And how do we get there in the middle? And how can we make sure that we maintain this over time? I know that John and I talked a lot the other day just about how important it is that when you get someone into a home, that it's not a one-shot deal and they might just crumble in a few months and not be able to maintain that home, not be able to sustain it. So we also offer pre-purchase counseling as part of Consumer Credit Counseling Service, which walks you through that process of home ownership and helping you understand what you're going to need to make sure that you can maintain your home. And that's part of the budgeting process. It's all part of that big game.
And I think that's important because I know a lot of people, in 2007, I think if you were alive and you could speak your name, I don't even know if you had to sign it, but if you could speak your name, then, you could buy a house. And a lot of people could afford the payment, but they couldn't afford if the hot water heater went out, or they couldn't afford if, some other major repair because they hadn't budgeted for it. And then all of a sudden they stopped making their house payment because they wanted hot water, and it just a snowball effect. But it's good to hear you teach them, say, okay, we're going to get you to home ownership, and here's what comes after.
Yeah, those are what's called periodic expenses in our budgeting worksheet. But they also, I like to term them when I'm talking in my seminars as quote unquote unexpected expenses. It's really unexpected that someday I might need a new roof. No, right. It's not really unexpected. Someday you're going to need a new roof. So you need to put money aside for that so that when it happens, you can just.
So you shouldn't just wait on a hailstorm and cross your fingers. And, no, okay.
And just hope that your insurance will do what you
please
do. Yeah. So yeah, that's part of the process is explaining. And it's funny. It's those periodic expenses that are really not planned for. It's those once a year, those once every 10 years expenses that folks don't put money aside for, and that'll crush you. It's a big blow, and sometimes we can use credit to get out of those situations, but making sure that you have good credit on the front end is imperative.
And I love what you said about being holistic, because it is. It's really a whole look at not only repairing your credit, keeping your good credit, and how to use your good credit.
Right. It's all about keeping that credit in a good place. I always analogize it to, I don't know if I told you this, John, but I analogize good credit to being healthy, getting a healthy report from your doctor.
Right.
So you want a healthy credit report, just like you want a healthy report from your doctor. Yes, that number matters. Lots of people are going to look at that number, and that's how they're going to judge you first and foremost. But it's just like the number on the scale. When you step on that scale, God knows I hate it. I don't even look if I can help it. But as long it doesn't.
But you have to.
But I have
if you're going to be healthy, you have to step on the scale.
I have to. But as long as I know that this report over here is healthy, that overall I'm healthy, the number on the scale should more or less reflect that.
Now, see, you're not happy getting on the scale. The scale's not happy when I get on the scale. So see, that's a little different. No. But I mean, it is a great program, and to be able to, to take someone who says, I know I can't buy a house, I'm going to rent or whatever, and to start them along that process has to be rewarding for you and your team.
Oh, it's very rewarding for our team. We are all very passionate about what we do. I can absolutely promise you that everyone in our office cares about the people who walk in the door. And when I say we hold your hand, we do. We're right there with you. We want to make sure that you're getting what you need and that we're communicating with you in a way that helps you move forward and understand what you need to get where you want to be. We're gonna give you the down and dirty. We will be straight with you, but we're going to make sure that we do it so that you can get where you want to be.
Okay, so I'm sure you have some requirements from the people going through the program. I'm sure you give them homework per se,
Sure.
and kind of tell us just a little bit about that. What is to be expected in that?
So basically, if you call our office and you say,
let's give the number right quick.
It's going to be 490-4620.
Okay.
And you'll talk to Jenny. She's awesome. She'll set you up with an appointment. And when she sets you up with that appointment, she'll let you know on the front end exactly what you need to bring with you. She'll tell you that if you have a spouse that you're going to involve in the process, you need to bring them with you. And we understand that that can be difficult. Those conversations are hard.
No.
Budgeting conversations are never easy. I always joke that they're easiest with beer. But
Now,
we can't serve
absolutely.
beer at our
Everything
place.
is.
So my husband and I always have ours
Yeah.
with beer.
So beer or wine before,
Maybe.
or maybe do you give breaks to go to the car?
Then you have to walk.
Yeah.
You have to walk to us at that point. But she'll let you know exactly what you need to bring with you. Any current bills, any current statements that you have that coincide with your credit need to come with you. Anything.
I bet if they've had a foreclosure or bankruptcy.
You need to bring any paperwork that you have
Okay.
that goes along with that as well. We can certainly pull your credit while you're in our office, and that is a soft pull. Just FYI, everybody. It does
Just kind of give you an idea where it's at.
does not affect your credit score.
Okay.
We're not offering you credit. That's a hard pull. So just
Okay.
a soft pull, informational only. But we can pull that and look at it. But the more information you can bring along with you about anything that we see on your credit report, the better off we'll be in helping figure out how to help you.
And once again, a great program. And Heather, we're coming up on our half-hour break. And then after the break, John's going to continue the conversation with Heather, and they're going to talk about actually real world, what they're doing today and what they've got going on and the way she's working with some of his clients and some other things. And once again, we're talking with Heather Olstein. She's with Consumer Credit Counseling, and she'll be back here in the second half hour. You're listening to Hot News Talk Radio. You can find us at 910, 1190, and 1240 on your AM dial, one of the largest footprints in beautiful Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is Real Estate U. We're here every Tuesday from 11 to 12, and you can find out more about us at realestateu.org. That's realestateu.org, or you can go to our Facebook page, which is Real Estate U Radio. We are on Facebook and at Twitter, so you can find us on the internet, just like you can watch us live on YouTube at Hot News Talk Radio. If you want to go right now, you're going to see John making gestures that I don't know if he should be making, but that's okay. It was live, and then of course we record all of our shows, and you'll be able to find them not only on YouTube, but you'll be able to find them on our website, realestateu.org. Thank you for listening this half hour. We are with Heather Olstein, and we're going to take our break, and we'll be right back. You are listening to Real Estate U.
NASCAR, Laura Ingram, Dennis Miller, David Toulis, Coast to Coast AM, and CBS Radio News. Chattanooga's news, talk, and sports leader.
Hot News Talk Radio, 910, 1190, and 1240 a.m.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network. Coverage continues Sunday here at Live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out this Sunday live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
It's time to get out your running shoes for the second annual Operation Outreach Race on March 28th at Mile Straight Baptist in Soddy Daisy. This year's race includes a 5K road race, trail race, a road and trail challenge, and a 1-mile fun walk. A portion of the proceeds will go to the Soddy Daisy Food Bank, and each participant will be asked to bring canned food to the race as we try to raise over 2,400 pounds of food. To register, go to OperationOutreach5K.com.
You
You do not have to be living with constant pain. You need to make the choice today to enjoy a revitalized body. You deserve to live a better pain-free life. And Dr. Ross can help. At Ross Chiropractic, failure is not an option. For over 40 years, Dr. Ross, a graduate of the prestigious Palmer College of Chiropractic, prided himself in helping and healing. The Ross method of chiropractic care is unique in developing a treatment designed just for you. And Ross Chiropractic makes this promise to you. If he believes that he can't help relieve your pain, he will guide you to another health practitioner to assist you. Feel better now. You owe it to yourself. You really do. Call Dr. Ross now at 954-9591. That's 954-9591. And visit Dr. Ross at 7405 Shaliford Road, Suite 320. Ross Chiropractic, helping your body heal itself. Because when your spine's in line, you will feel fine. Call 954-9591. That's 954-9591 for Ross Chiropractic.
NASCAR, Laura Ingram, Dennis Miller, David Toulis, Coast to Coast AM, and CBS Radio News. Chattanooga's news, talk, and sports leader.
Hot News Talk Radio, 910, 1190, and 1240 AM.
Our house in the middle of our streets. Our house in the middle of our streets. Our house in the middle of our streets.
You are listening to Real Estate U here on Hot News Talk Radio. You can find us on your AM dial at 1240 AM, 1190 AM, and 910 AM. And if you want to see us live, go to YouTube. Hit search Hot News Talk Radio, and you'll find us live on YouTube. And as always, you can go to hotnewstalkradio.com and catch our streaming. Here, we had a question off the air, and the question was, how did Real Estate U's basketball team fare in the NCAA tournament? And, you know, we missed it barely this year. We barely missed the tournament, but I think next year with the players we have coming back and the coaching staff, I think we're going to do wonderful. So we're really, really looking forward to that. Hey, one of our main sponsors here is Investor Real Estate Services. Whether you're looking to buy a house, sell a house, if you want a house managed, or if you want your house leased, you need to give those guys a call. And you can call them at 423-443-4878. That's 423-443-4878. Extension 3 will go straight to Regina Johnson, and she'll be more than happy to help you out in any way possible. And we are going to continue our conversation here on Hot News Talk Radio on Real Estate U with Heather Olstein, and she is with Consumer Credit Counseling. And I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, John Santero, because he's actually working deals with her right now. John?
Well, it's true. And we were lucky enough to meet up with Heather, and we were using a private company for a long time, and they do an excellent job. But the holistic approach that Heather has not only gets people into a house, but make sure that they're going to stay there as best they can. And Heather, I want to back up a little bit. Sure. The information that people get to bring to you. Now, I'm going to say this. I was able to be lucky enough to go through a couple of these interviews myself when people call in on our programs. Mm-hmm. And I think people have a misconception of credit repair. And I'm going to say this in this fact. They think it's more economically based on the lower end of the scale. People who don't maybe have not graduated college, don't really have good jobs or whatever. But I really think that goes cuts the whole spectrum.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, we have something called a debt management plan at Consumer Credit Counseling Service. And our average client can make $85,000 a year.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about, this is anyone. We see clients in our office who make far more than you would think and are in deep doo-doo on their credit report.
Exactly. And I think see, this is the thing. And listen, we all have dings out there. Life happens. Right. Things are going to come up. And it could be simple ones where you can't get into a house right away, like missing a payment or two. Mm-hmm. And you know that you can correct that.
Sure.
But a lot of times when people pull don't pull their credit report. Don't have a clue really on what is dragging on that credit report. And you guys are at least are able to, for that time, just stop what's going on and let's just concentrate on this one issue, and that's credit.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that just all of a sudden just stops and says, okay, where's your budget? Well, they'll look at you like a deer in headlights.
What budget?
What budget?
Right.
And then you go, well, we would, and they're coming in with some good money. And I think we hit it earlier where a lot of times the spouses don't want to talk about that.
Sure.
And to bring both of them in, you really need to sit down and talk about it. How many shoes are too many shoes? How many bikes or play toys are too many play toys?
Right. And that's one of the major reasons for divorce in this country is money issues.
That's right.
So let us help you.
Yeah,
it
is a difficult conversation to have. Is right. You're really have to open up the purse, as it were. Right?
Absolutely, and look at that bank account, because the bottom line, when you don't have a budget, you're not determining where you're going to put that money every single month before you put it there. Now, that is not to say that during the course of the month something might happen and you forget your lunch and you're going to buy it out instead of doing what you said you were going to do, and that's $10-20 that's off
right
month.
Right,
but you figure that out at the end of the month and then you start over.
Right, exactly. And and we talked off air, and I think that what happens is people really don't have that anymore, where they learn what financial responsibility is and how you have to make some difficult decisions. Sometimes you have to make those difficult decisions too late. And a lot of us just want to stick our head in the sand and it's going to go away. It's going to go away, but it really doesn't go away. It kind of festers. And not to say that you have to have it fester to get to your program.
No, we love
okay?
it.
We want you to be proactive to get to that program. Now, one of the things that we bring in as far as my company is that we make it proactive in the fact that we're going to get something done. We want to buy a house. But it doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy a house. Right? I mean, your credit repair isn't designed just to go and buy a house.
No, it would be great if that is your end goal. Like I said, we're going to sit down with you and figure out where you want to be and why you want to be there and what the best way to get you there will be. What is your path? What are those milestones? What are those check-in points that we need to set up for you so that you're successful and continue to be successful on whatever path you're headed down? But if home ownership's one of them, absolutely. We'd love to walk you through that process.
And, then a lot
what a great thing at the end.
What a great thing at the end.
In your name.
And just everything that goes along with that too, yes. Right? But, and that's the other part of it. And I think that's where we kind of blend together, because one of the things that happened way back when is that you had people come back. Well, way back when, was it just a couple of years ago? But it's all the way back in 2009, and people were able to sit there and go through some loosey-goosey numbers, come up with an amount that they said you could afford this. And I think I didn't really get this until just recently, how can people complain about them signing a loan? I didn't get that, Heather. I didn't understand why all of a sudden now did they figure out that wasn't something they should have done, until I went through this myself. And then I realized that if you got, you're in a good bank, you got the marble, and then you're in this place, and I don't really know my finances. I'm trusting these guys to say, this is what I can afford. And then they got the realtor next to me with these big houses. I'm thinking, wow, I can get into that house. And the next thing you know is you kind of talk yourself into, well, maybe I can. Well, that only lasts maybe a year or two. And then the hot water heater breaks, like Eric said, or something, roof needs leaking and this and that. And you don't have that extra piece of savings that you were just talking about. And the whole thing just fell fell down. And what we're trying to do now is make sure that, to the best of your ability, that that's not going to happen.
Exactly. And I have heard stories, and even myself, I remember someone really trying very, very hard to talk me into a house that was way beyond my means.
Right. And
you can get a second job.
Yeah.
You can get a third job. You can you can give up stuff. You can
like eating.
You can give up eating. It'll be fine. You're not very big. It'll be fine.
You're not. And that's it. And it's funny because one of the things that I do when I talk to clients is that I sit there and I go over what that the regular numbers would be and how much somebody would say is something that they can pay for, and they look at that and they go, I can't afford that. Well, that's the reason why we had our problem. So now we're going to pull that back and say, what can we really afford? So
that's why we're so excited about working with you guys, because that's where those are the folks that you guys are the folks we want to be working with.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And of course I got to pay Heather a little bit of money, but we're going to do that under the table so that the video doesn't see that. But no, I mean, it's when we talk about win-wins, that's really where it comes down to is that win-win. And what's nice about the credit repair program that you guys have is, but boy, when you talk about holding hands, now I felt a little uncomfortable in your office holding your hand that time, but I guess if that's part of the program, that's what we have to do. But no, I'm only kidding. So you really, it's an individual effort. And I think that's what the rewarding part is, what you and your staff is, that they take each person individually. It's not just one big group meeting.
No.
Right. So explain that a little bit, because I think people, I'm going to be in this classroom and I got to raise my hand and tell people my bad deeds that I've done.
Yeah, this is not that. You are literally sitting in a comfortable office situation. We'll offer you something to drink. Need a little snack? We got that too.
No, we can't have the beer or the wine in that.
No wine. Okay. We can't offer that. But you're going to be sitting there very, very private with one counselor in the office. If for any reason there's a question that comes up that they need to ask another credit counselor for assistance on that issue, then that might be a part of it. But you're going to be aware every step of the way. We have all of 5 people in our office total, and that includes me, and I'm hardly ever in the office. As you can see, I'm out in the community doing things like this, which is really fun.
That's right. And I'm glad we have our YouTube video up so you can see we brought in the pretty gal to come in and do this.
Hardly, but thank you so much.
Just to brighten up the airwaves here. But and that's true. And your giving organization. Now, it does cost a little bit of money.
It's a little bit of money. Now, what we've put together is for looking at credit for a home buying purpose. There's a $50 fee for that. So you pay that up front, and then we'll work with you from that point forward. So
really,
yes.
So now I don't know this because not really involved with the dollars and cents in this thing. So you're telling me that a client could come in, pay $50, and now that gives them.
Yes, then we set up a plan for them.
Okay.
We sit down and look at their credit from a home buying perspective, because that's the reason.
That's why they're there.
Mm-hmm. They're coming in because they are ready to make that giant asset their own. So we're going to look at that and say, well, here is what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where we need to be in X number of days or X number of weeks, and you come see me on this date next time and this time, and we'll see where we are and go from there. And if during that process we say, a debt management plan would really be an assistive thing for you, let's get you on that. If you're comfortable with it, then we can set you up on that. Now, if you decide to go in that route, there are smaller fees here and there for that, but they're very small. Once again, we are a nonprofit. When I say nonprofit, I mean non-profit.
Well, we have
what we do because we love it, and we want to do what's right for the community.
We're a nonprofit also, but not really as the design. See, we're working on that. But no, you know what? Listen, I know I can just go on and on this, and I but we have time constraints. Please throw out the number again. And if anybody, for any reason, now it doesn't have to be specifically for home ownership, but if you find yourself in a crunch, you're getting some nasty letters in the mail, this is the time to act. And please give Heather a call. She has 100% of my trust and to help your situation. So Heather, please give your number again.
So our number is 423-490-5620. Once again, you'll talk to Jenny, and she will set you up with one of our counselors.
Give it one more time, Heather.
423-490-5620.
Thank you so much for being here, Heather. A lot of fun. We've learned a lot. I think the two things that I've learned is that if I go through credit counseling, I get to hold your hand and drink beer. So for $50, that's not bad. No, I'm kidding. What a great program they have. A wonderful program they have that is needed in today's, not only just in home ownership, but I mean, if you're thinking about buying a car or whatever, I think this would be a great program to go through.
You know, and what's going on here too is how we blend this together, Eric, is that now our company comes in while we have an initial meeting with the client. We get them information. We basically hand it off to Heather and her staff. And what we do in the meantime is we go out and look for houses for them that meet their specifications, and we were able to get the amount of dollars that they need so that we're not going to overreach. And Heather helps us with that portion of it as far as, hey, they can get up to this amount of dollars. We go out and look for that. We are their intermediary financing in between that, and then sell them the home when they are able to pull the trigger on convention loans.
And I tell you something I really liked what y'all were talking about. It doesn't matter. This is not a low or lower income situation. This is an any income situation. And it doesn't matter if you're looking at a house for $80,000 or you may be looking at a house for $250,000. This program can work for you. So don't just say, oh, I'm not listening to it, but it can and does work for no matter your economic situation.
Well, another nice thing about it too is that sometimes you don't know how to put all this together, and that financial budget is something. Hey, how about if you're self-employed?
Yes.
All right. And
very important.
And you need to just learn how to, what do I do? How do I put this together in order to do my budgets and to show that I have this income? This is something that needs to be done, because if you're going to go in front of a bank, you got to have all your ducks in line. It's almost like there's no second chance anymore, right? I mean, we've seen people that go in and just had the capacity to go ahead and do it, but didn't present it in the right fashion.
And I think that, a lot of institutions are looking to say no. They're not looking to say yes anymore. They're not looking to say, how can we help you? They're just saying no. No, we can't help you. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? That's a good point, because it used to be where it was more community based. And I think now, a lot of the institutions have all these restrictions on them, and they may have everything filled in that bucket, and sometimes it's not even you. So that's why I think there's a lot of need to get your paperwork together. Why make their job harder? If they can process you through the system in a nice, easy fashion, chances are you're going to be the one that's going to get approved.
And I think no matter where you're at in your life, if you feel like you need this, you need to contact Consumer Credit Counseling and go through their program. You're going to learn something. You're talking about $50 to get started. And I think it is going to dramatically change your life from thereafter. Even if, like I said, if you're trying to buy a house or if you're trying to buy a car, maybe you just want to get control of your debt, control of your finances. You're not trying to buy anything. I think this would be a wonderful program for it.
Well, and not only that, but let's look at what we can do as citizens of Chattanooga. I'm going to get a little deep here, but let's if you got money.
This is the wrong show for that. I think that comes later on in the afternoon. Yes.
Do I have to wear a bow tie for that show?
No, I don't think you're wearing a bow tie. I think you're wearing more of a heart. Like a helmet and carrying your musket.
Well, what's nice about this is that you know what? If you're on the other side of it, you're interested in doing something in real estate. You want to help the community.
Mm-hmm.
You want to put your money towards something that really means something, and you're able to make money doing it. It's a perfect opportunity to be a passive.
It's making an impact on your local city.
Exactly.
Is what it is. And you're working with a local agency to make that impact. And real estate investing is rewarding. And yes, you can make a lot of money, but most importantly, you can change lives.
Yes.
And not everything's about money. A lot of things are about changing lives. And when you do that, it's going to come back to you tenfold.
So being a passive investor in this means that you can be able to help us buy houses for people that are going through credit repair, make money doing it. Okay. But you're also the other end of that is just really good feeling.
And keep in mind, they don't just serve Chattanooga. If you're in South Pittsburgh, you're in Dunlap, you're in Cleveland, you're in Dayton, no matter where you're at, if you're in Ringgold, they can help you out because they are serving the community of Chattanooga, and that's everybody around us.
Yeah. And I think it's a really neat opportunity to do that. And you know what? Isn't it? There's another side of that, Eric, because, we're always looking at areas where we want to put homeowners in, and that just that just increases the appreciation and the of the whole neighborhood when there's more homeowners, and then spotting in with renters helps even the renters.
It does,
and helps the people who own those
and it
houses.
helps you get maximum amount for your rents too.
Yeah. So with that, why don't you hit with Investor Real Estate Services one more time?
Okay. They are one of our main sponsors, Investor Real Estate Services. You can give them a call at 423-443-4878, extension 3. And if you got to buy a house, sell a house, if you're looking to rent a house, or you have rental property you need managed or leased, give them a call. If you're interested in maybe John's home ownership program through Lease to Own, his extension is extension 6, 423-443-4878. Give him a call there. If you'd like to speak to me about anything, 423-443-4878. I'm at extension 7. And, John, we have an interesting program that we're working on that's going to be tailored toward real estate agents that we're hoping that by our next show, we're going to roll it out. And if you're a real estate agent in the tri-state area and you want the biggest impact, you want more people to hear you, not only more people, but more decision makers to hear you, you're going to want to hear about this program.
You know what? It's a great program. We talked about it with the ownership of the radio station here. They're 100% behind us. And it's going to be, I think, a good impact for anybody who's looking at doing open houses and also doing developments.
And promoting their
promoting
properties.
Themselves and their brand. Yep. So, we're going to roll that out the next time. Hey, and if you're going to be out and about tonight, come on over to the Flying Squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's going to start about 5:30ish. We're going to have a little investor sign out there so you know who we are. Come on over, say hello.
Don't you have to wear a funny-looking hat, too, so everybody knows?
I think that was the last
meeting.
But so come on over. Say hello, and boy, if you want to buy me a drink, I don't think I'm going to say no.
You can hold his hand if you buy him a beer, and I think he's stolen that from Heather, but that's okay. Whatever works there.
I think I gave that up, but
it's going to be a beautiful evening, so now would be a time to come out. And there's no charge for that outside of your own food and whatever you'd like to drink, but you're going to gain a lot of knowledge. If nothing else, you're going to meet a lot of good people.
Yeah, like-minded people coming in. So,
well, every Tuesday we're on the radio. This is Real Estate U. We're happy to be on News Talk Radio, and you can hear us at newstalkradio.com, streaming audio there, or you can hear us in your car, and that's in 1240. That's the big Chattanooga station. You can hear us all over the Chattanooga area, 1190 and 910 also. So if you travel outside the area, in fact, I think you can almost get us about halfway up to Nashville, which is big. You're listening to Real Estate U. We appreciate you listening, and we hope we're providing you not only information, but some entertaining moments there. We want to appreciate our guest that was here, Heather Olstein with Consumer Credit Counseling. She did a wonderful job. And as always, I thank my host, Mr. John Santero, and thank you for listening to Real Estate U on Hot News Talk Radio.